In the vast, dark vacuum of space, there was a god so incredibly bored with himself, he created a sector with 7 different planets. But we aren't going to talk about that today. Today, we're going to get into the lore of the one and only, kinda, Beetle Boy. There's a few things that go into his backstory and his lore, with a few different characters, starting with the creation of the Don Beetler, the enforcer of the Astrodia sector. He was created by the creator for protecting the Astrodia sector and its inhabitants from threats, but he got too overzealous and thought he was stronger and more important than said creator. So to punish him for trying to take over, the creator split the Dawn into 2 much weaker beings than himself. One half being blue and the other half being red, respectively, both holding the name of Beetle Boy. Now, the story of both these guys are intertwined because they're kind of inseparable, but at the same time, they're still very 2 different characters, both displaying 2 different sides of the Dawn's personality. First, we'll start with Beetle Boy Blue, the one you see on the channel all the time. So just a brief history of his creation outside of his canon lore. He was actually my attempt at creating a mascot that lined up with my interests so I could portray myself on YouTube, and that's where this original design came from. So he just evolved from there, trying to step away from the video game motif. This also applies to his brother Red, which were both created in the same time frame. Initially, their names were Beetle Boy Star and Beetle Boy Moon, but because of a secret third character that I'll mention later in the video, that didn't really stick. Also, just another quick side note here, the Dawn's original name was actually supposed to be Nova Eclipser, but I thought to myself that was the most try-hard name imaginable, so I had to change it immediately. Anyways, Beetle Boy as a character is a sarcastic, happy, fun-loving guy that just cares about people, a lost trait that was supposed to be at the forefront of the Dawn. He is one of 2 ambassadors of the Astrodia 6 planet, so he and Red, who is the other ambassador, go to intergalactic conferences to maintain peace between all planets. But Blue hates this job. He usually lets Red do all of the talking because he usually takes that a lot more seriously than he does. Outside of his siblings, as in yes, there is one other besides Red that we'll be speaking about later, he has many relationships with other characters in the Astrodia sector, such as Scratch, a vagabond who's joined by his other 2 crew members to start parties around every planet in the Astrodia sector, Old Man Crank, Lily and Lucy, the Lucky Knot, and Sentai 7. Now, just a short disclaimer, a lot of these characters mentioned aren't fully fleshed out yet, but they will be in the future. This video is currently focused on Beetle Boy and everybody directly related to Beetle Boy, so they don't really matter aside from the fact that he has a relationship with them. Also, just a quick side note, Sentai 7 is not a person, it is a group of people, 7 members specifically, and I'll be diving into one of the members very briefly later on. Blue is always looking to befriend more people, but will be fiercely loyal to the people he has already had connections with. He and Red, while not always on ambassador duties, are always going to different planets in the Astrodia sector, helping people on those planets whether they need it or not, and hijinks do ensue. That could be for simple tasks or actual danger. Again, they aren't very strong compared to the Dawn, so they can't brute force their way out of any situation, but they are very creative, and they still find ways to assist people around the Astrodia sector. Beetle Boy Red is the more serious of the 2 brothers. He is the complete opposite of Blue, stoic, brooding, short temper, and cunning. He is the more responsible of the 2, and that balances them out. They have the exact same goals, and that is helping everybody by any means necessary, whether they like it or not. On the very extreme end, Red is the most ruthless, and if he needs to kill, he would not hesitate. This is a part of the Dawn's personality that was at the utmost forefront before he was separated. The leader of Astrodia 2, who currently does not have a name just yet, is very fearful of Red because he was beat down by the Dawn, and Red reminds him the most of him. So he tries to stay clear of him during all of the council meetings, which can get a little weird sometimes because everybody's trying to come to an agreement for intergalactic peace, and he's scared that this little red guy is going to be to him. His relationships are pretty much the same as Blue's, since they're always together, for the exception of one other person he has ties to, which is the ninja frog Jiraiya from Astrodia 3. He is the leader of the Sentai 7 mentioned earlier, and he and Red share ninjutsu techniques, and they're actually pretty close. Sorry to interrupt this very cool guy explaining the lore on some biomechanical beetles, but if you're really enjoying this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing if you also made it this far. If you did, please comment any questions you have about the Beetle brothers. Anyways, back to the lore keeper dev. The last member of the Beetle siblings is Beetle Girl, or as she usually goes by, Green. She's the youngest sister of the Dawn, thus also being the youngest sister of both Blue and Red. Beetle Girl was also created by the creator as a retort to what happened with the Dawn. Instead of being an enforcer like he was, she is going to be trained and raised by her two brothers Blue and Red to be a caring protector of Astrodia 6 instead. The creator thought this would be the best way to raise Beetle Girl to keep her on track. The Dawn being split up into both parts of his personality, both being Blue and Red, would be a good influence on the young Beetle in the future that would prove to make Beetle Girl take on the name of Dom Beta, the protector of the Astrodia sector. Also, side note, they can't die of old age, but Beetle Girl does age up to be Dom Beta, but that's because she was created to especially age up to that point, and then they kind of just don't age after that. Now, their stories aren't really around fighting or power scaling or anything like that, but I guess just to put this out there, if Dom Beta or Don Beeler were to fight, it would really be a tie, and the only reason Don Beeler would actually win is because his moral compass is all the way like just up, which Dom Beta does not. She actually has a moral compass, but realistically, if we were to put their feats together and power scale them, they would be similar. But again, the story itself is not about fighting or anything like that, so it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme. I just wanted to mention that. And those are all the current characters of the Beetle Boy lore. Let me know which one was your favorite, which one you have questions about in the comments below. If you really like this video, please leave a like. If you really enjoy this concept, please subscribe. I will be making more videos on my characters in the future, so if you're interested in that, please do so. And I will have more based on the entire universe of just the Astrodia sector in general. And for upcoming projects, I guess I just want to mention this, I will be working on mostly just my original stuff, but I do have a few projects planned that will be centered around different IPs that I do like. So please keep in tune for that if you're interested. Anyways, I'll be seeing you guys. Bye!